Okay, so let's continue with more user actions, and now let's try to automate the feedback page. So how to actually do it? Well, we can leave it here in the user actions. So on the top, let's create one more function in the interface, and I'm gonna name it submit feedback. And this function will take 4 arguments. First is name, again it's string, then it takes email, it's string, then it takes subject, again string, and then message, again string. Typically you will be working with strings a lot, especially when you are working with some types of input, but sometimes you can just leave it as a number, or you can use any. And if you use any, it will basically accept any type. But I can recommend you to strictly typing the data type which you want to use. And don't forget to give it the interface of chainable and element. So next, we can again give it a JS doc. And as you can see, now it auto-completed all the 4 parameters for me, because it takes them from the function. Again, this is also a very cool feature of using TypeScript. So let's now just add description. So takes name of the message author, for example. Email, here we can type takes email. And we can also give it something like there is no validation on the backend. Again, this is the typical place where you can just store this kind of information, and these are just the examples for our project. Again, typically you would type your own information and description regarding your own company project. So subject takes subject of the message, and the message itself is just, the message of the author. So save it. That's it. Our interface for our submit feedback function is ready. Now we can just add it here. So Cypress, comments, add. Again, you should already know the pattern here, so this should be nothing for you. And again, this function takes 4 parameters, so we need to pass them here. So first is name, then we have email, then subject, and then the message itself. So how does the code look like? Again, we need to call sci.get, and let's go and inspect the website. So we know it's here under the feedback. And we know the first label is here, so let's inspect it. And you can see its ID of name, so we can use it. So ID of name, and we want to type into that, and we want to type the name. So sci.get. Now let's get the same for the email. You can see its ID of email. And again, we want to type the email. So we need to do it 2 more times. This time, sci.get. This is for the subject. And finally, we need to do this for the message itself. So it's ID of command. And again, we want to type the message. So final step is to actually submit it. So we also need to inspect this send message. And we can use the value, so let's use the contains again. So sci.contains send message dot click and save it. So this should be it. This is our action or action function called submit feedback. We have successfully created new custom command. We have also created interface with JS docs. So final step is to execute it and create a test for that. So let's go to the demo. And you know what? We can actually create one more test. So let's create a new file and let's name it feedback.spec.ts. So we're gonna start from the top. So I'm gonna describe feedback test. Now we can type it. And the description should be something like should submit feedback form, for example. So step number one would be site.visit feedback page, and we have already created this function in the previous videos. And then we have site.submit feedback, and as you can see, it wants 4 arguments: name, email, subject, and message. So first takes name and message of the author. So let's type it, for example, Peter. Email, we can give it whatever we want. Next is subject, so let's say just my subject. And next is the message. This is my awesome message. Hit save. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is our test. First, we basically visit the feedback page and then we submit the feedback. So let's now open terminal. Type npx cypress open. And now you can see we have 2 tests. We have our demo and our feedback. So let's run the feedback spec. And you can see our test basically passed. We have navigated to the feedback, we have filled and submit login form, and we just send it. Typically you want to use some form of assertion, but I'm just gonna leave it up to you as maybe a little challenge. You can create assertion for that, so you can create new action, or you can even, let's say, create next step here. After we click on it, you can just call assert, or you can create a separated custom command. Again, it's up to you and your creativity. And again, let me just show you one more time. If I go to the test and I just hover over this function, you can see it displays me now all the parameters this function takes along with the description. And if I click on that, it will automatically redirect me to the file where this function is, or the interface of the function is declared. And then I can just scroll down and I can see the code of the custom command and of the function itself. So now we are actually using the data hard-coded for the test. It's completely fine. But in the next video, I'm going to show you how to actually implement the fixtures to our framework, so we can also collect the data from the fixtures and we'll no longer need to hard-code them into the functions. So let me just close all the files for now. And we can continue in the next video.